If I sent you the link to this video, it is not because I'm trying to be rude. It is because I am efficient, okay? Soy empresaria, okay? So that means I'm an entrepreneur because I speak Spanish, you know? No, but for real, learning Spanish has been really tough. I thought that being here, it would like naturally come to me. You still gotta study. This basically is just like my first real update since moving. So we're gonna go over what's surprised me, what's been harder than expected, what I'm loving, learning Spanish, navigating safety and trust as a solo woman traveler, the rental cars, the rental bikes, the rental scooters, the food quality. We're gonna go into a story about a bag of ice at Walmart, life with caviar here, my dog, gym culture, and then the subtle cultural things I feel like people wouldn't typically notice if they were just on vacation here. I purposely waited 2 weeks before making this video because I feel like first impressions can be kind of misleading, and I didn't want to make some first judgments off of just a week being here, because still, even 2 weeks in, I feel like I just got here. So I have my notes, but I do want to say I think one of the most interesting parts about living in a tourist destination has been watching people on vacation and how exhausting vacations look from the outside. So like the excursions, the reservations, the itineraries, and trying to maximize every second. I always knew that that was exhausting, and that's why I have been solo traveling for a couple of years now and just resisting that pressure. I also think slow travel is my preferred method of travel, where I can stay at a destination for 2 weeks plus so that I can really understand the culture, take my time, all of the things. So I'm actually here in this particular city for another 2 weeks before I keep moving, but I'm just not trying to conquer this destination, right? I'm just experiencing it for what it is and then going to continue moving on. If you've ever solo traveled or moved abroad or even just moved to a new city, I would love to know what part of the adjustment period was the hardest for you. I can already tell you mine is the language, okay? Okay, so how's it been overall? Great. I'm having the time of my life. I'm still building routines that are sustainable for me, but ultimately I am very comfortable here. It actually surprised me how comfortable I got so soon. And I think I have to credit that to picking a really good place to land. And we will do a full apartment tour once I leave here. And you can see, like, I made sure to angle myself so you can't see nothing. You can't see, and that's part of the safety part. You can't see nothing about where I live. But yeah, it's been really good. I've learned that I need to take naps so I can fully take advantage of the nightlife here. And by nightlife, I mean the fact that it's 90 degrees during the day and most people just aren't hanging out during the day. They're hanging out at night. Although I did think that I was gonna I went out one night and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have like a night. I'm gonna go get something to eat. Then I'm gonna go to a bar, whatever. No, everything kind of closes at 10. I guess you have to kind of know the after hour spots and I don't know them yet. So I was back home and in bed by 11. Caviar has fully rejected his crate. It's probably too small and too warm for him here. We've taken it to Mexico before, but I think just like the layout of this apartment is a little different. So I haven't been forcing it on him. He sleeps at the foot of the bed, and I would rather place train him anyway than crate train him, because place training can work in situations where we don't have a crate. So I am looking for a dog trainer and also trying to do a few things myself and just build up our trust so that he knows when I say place, you stay there and don't move until I say free. We're working on it. My current morning routine is he wakes me up, because he's not in a crate, around between 6 and 7, and then we go for our morning walk before it gets too hot. And we typically walk to the beach. So I do see the beach every day. I don't necessarily sit on the beach every day or put my feet in. And actually, the past 2 days I've taken him to the beach. It's been kind of no bueno. One, it's not a dog beach. So there is a dog beach, which happens to be kind of a far walk for us, especially in this heat. But he just loves the beach. He loves the beach. He wants to run around. And yesterday he got free and interrupted someone's engagement shoot. And I was so embarrassed. I was mortified, actually. And then today it happened again. But this time it was my fault. I got a little too comfortable and I let him off leash. And a lady came with her little chihuahua and was setting up her towel and stuff. And of course, Caviar rushes over there to say hi. And the other dog was friendly as well, but I could not get him to stop, and she didn't want Caviar to say hi. So she told me that I needed to put him on a leash, and I agreed. Like, I can't say that she was wrong. So I, like, tail between my legs, got out of there because that was really embarrassing. And I feel like I got way too comfortable in her, you know, this is her home first, right? Like, I don't think that as an immigrant, as an American, it's my place to be like, well, you shouldn't have your dog here either. Like, because that's not true. Like, we both shouldn't have our dogs there. But I think I have to remember, like, this is someone else's home, and she deserves to have a quiet morning at the beach, just like I deserve to have a relaxing morning at the beach and not have this dog pulling me all over the place. So we will go to the dog beach. I'll figure out how to get there. I think I'm gonna have to take like a colectivo, which is like one of the little buses that run up and down the street, or an InDrive, which is kind of their version of Uber, so we can get there. The good thing about going to the dog beach, though, is that I meet so many people when I go. There's so many Canadians, Americans, Mexicanos, like, that go to that beach, and it's very easy to just strike up a conversation when you have a dog because you already have this huge thing in common. And that's always been true, even in America, I noticed. But when traveling, I'm realizing, like, he can be an asset sometimes. I've already made, like, 2 Mexican friends, two American friends, and 1 Canadian friend just at the dog beach. I did pay $12 for a cold brew at a cafe near the dog beach. And that was the first, like, couple of days I was here, and I was like, oh, never again. But that was the best cold brew I've had since I've been here, actually. So I'm not, obviously I can't have it every day because I can't even get there every day, but you know, it was surprising. And yeah, also a lot of places are surprisingly dog friendly. So from cafes to restaurants, a lot of places. I just had an experience this morning where I went to go get a protein smoothie, and the guy's like, do you want a water bowl for your dog? And I'm like, oh yeah, gracias, thank you. So yeah, a lot of places are surprisingly dog friendly, which I really do appreciate because it makes things a little easier, even though I have a local dog. If you want a full video of traveling internationally with your dog or bringing your dog to Mexico, please let me know because I've already learned so much by being here. Day of travel, the day that I got here, I flew out April 30th, and I got here in the afternoon. I flew into Cancun, and the rental car company picks you up in their personal shuttle and takes you to the off-site rental car space, pickup area, I don't know what to call it. They take you to their off-site office and you sign some paperwork. There was a deposit of 5,000 pesos, which I think is around 200 and something dollars. The rental car place is a place that I've used before, and they are maybe 10 minutes outside of the airport, if that. I think sometimes there's traffic, sometimes there's not, but I guess I have a preferred rental place now. The main reasons for me getting the rental was because a private transfer from the airport to Playa del Carmen would have cost the same one way. And I would rather have the flexibility of having a car for the first few days that I was here. So I used it to go to Costco, scope out gyms, kind of get my bearings of what the layout of the city is. And I had zero issues renting, driving, or returning the vehicle. And I know that's something that people worry about a lot in Mexico is scams or the police, and I had zero issues. Once I returned the rental car, I was like, ooh, I think I need some form of transportation. I thought I was gonna be able to just walk everything, which I could, but my plantar fasciitis was acting up. It feels a lot better now. And I was just like, it's really hot to do all of that. So I did find a rental scooter company, and I did it just for one day just to see if I liked it. And I did like the convenience of it because scooters can park anywhere for free versus a car has to pay, but it's not like New York at all. It's like a couple of pesos. But I just felt really uncomfortable going that fast here. And I don't feel like it had the best lighting. It wasn't as reliable to start. So if I was in an emergency situation, it didn't start quickly. So it just ultimately didn't feel like the best fit for me here. I really wanted to find a bike, and it was so hard to find a place that rented bikes. There's tons of bike shops around here, but none of them rent bikes. I walked up and down different avenues, just asking the bike shops, renta, and they're like, no. So eventually I actually found one on the street. My bike has a little sign on it that says se renta. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna text him. And he delivered the bike to me. I had to give him 1,000 pesos as a deposit, or I could have given him or shown him like my ID, or I guess. And yeah, it's super affordable for me to rent the bike, and it's good exercise. So I like the bike. I use it every day. Actually, my butt hurts a little bit because I've been using it a lot. And like I said, my plantar fasciitis is not hurting anymore that much. So it was a good decision. And there's somewhere to park the bike in my building. So I can bring it inside into the garage, and I can put the bike there. So that's been great too. Let me know if you want a full transportation video, because I've rented a car, I've rented the scooter, rented a bike, I've taken the ADEO bus. And I've learned so much already since being here. So let me know if you want me to do a full transportation video about getting around in Mexico. Okay, so let's get into the cost of living / food spending. So Playa del Carmen is a very heavy touristy area. So the prices of some things did surprise me, I'm not going to lie. And I want to frame this carefully because I think that sometimes framing a country as cheap or cash efficient can attract the wrong types of crowds. Also, Mexico is not cheap. So let's just start there. Mexico is not a cheap place to live. So, and I knew that. However, I was still surprised. And dining out can add up very quickly if you're going to the restaurants. My current dining strategy is that I will make or eat breakfast at home, and then whatever lunch or dinner is, because I typically only eat twice a day. So whatever I decide, whether it be lunch or dinner, I eat out. Typically we'll eat from a taco stand. A fruteria, which is like the fruit stands. A panaderia, which is a bakery, or a tamale stand. So I actually had a tamale today. It was really good. And those meals typically will be around 100, 120 pesos, including a drink, which translates to about $6 or $7. So I feel that I'm doing pretty well with budgeting. I'm spending probably $14, $20 a day, which I think I would be spending I actually would be spending more in New York just on transportation alone, because I was living in Westchester and I had sold my car, or even when I had my car, the tolls. So I'm spending technically less money, but again, I don't want to frame it as, oh, this is such a cheap place to live, because you will be surprisingly shocked if you come here thinking that. And two, it's just like, we don't want to perpetuate that stereotype of using a place for economic gain, basically. I must say though, I have been loving the agua frescas. I love the fresh fruits. Oh my God, I did a whole video on the fresh fruits. I love the simple quesadillas that I can make at home, breakfast tacos, all the salsas. I love the food here. And I knew that before I even got here, but I think being here has just made it very clear that like, this is a really good place for me. Overall, what I'm learning is that successful long-term travel has less to do with how adventurous you are, but how much you can bring some familiarity to your routine in your new country. So I think having caviar has helped quite a bit, and a few other things, like I went and bought a bowl, well, I bought 2 bowls, some forks. I have my water bottle here that I brought from home. Asked the Airbnb host for extra hangers because I'm used to hanging up majority of my clothes. So just little things like that have made it feel very much like home without being exploitive of the country. Because I think sometimes people take that to mean like, oh, I have to enforce my standards upon the local community, and that's just not true. I'm gonna do a whole video soon about things that would drive a high maintenance American insane about Mexico, just to shed some light on why, if you are high maintenance, you probably should not come here. And I consider myself high maintenance, but I also know I've been here before, so I understand what to expect. And I think sometimes people just don't do their research. They'll just move somewhere and be like, well, they got to figure out how to accept me. And it's like, good luck with that, you know? Let me know if you want a full video about things I wish I would have packed and what I did prioritize and what I wish I would have brought instead, because there has been quite a few things so far. Okay, so learning Spanish and just learning to trust people. So I do feel that I am learning more words through immersion, or more phrases. Like I can order my coffee without stuttering anymore, or without pause. However, if I need to ask if someone has this or has that, I have to think about what the word is and how to phrase it. So I am still learning. I'm still doing my tutoring with my tutor Vicenta. I'm up to twice a week now. And then actually tonight, I'm going to a language transfer at a smoothie place that I've been to like 3 or 4 times. I saw a sign that they have language transfer classes on Wednesday evenings. So I'm going to do that, but I'm also looking at ways I can incorporate just more face-to-face learning interactions rather than like service-oriented interactions. Because a lot of the time I'm speaking Spanish, it's like to my doorman, which both of them only speak Spanish, or to people who I'm meeting on the street that I want something from, whether it just be information or a cafe or whatever. And then I have, however, found a bridge at the gym, because a lot of the people who go to the gym that I chose do speak English, especially the staff. All of the staff basically speak really fluent English. So they've taught me little things like campechiano or campeche. It's basically, you can order like a burrito or a taco with a mix of meats instead of just one. And I made great use of that already. I had a burrito yesterday and it was so good. I think it has sirloin, chorizo, and one other meat. It was really good. Solo travel has really forced me to trust my instincts much more deeply. So my default when I'm in a new environment with new people is to just observe. I don't speak, I don't share anything about myself. I'm very living in New York though has taught me to sharpen my intuition. So I did TaskRabbit, cleaning people's homes. I did pop-ups for laundry. I was renting rooms in my apartment. So I got exposed to a lot of different types of personalities. And I think that that has helped me to become a really keen reader of people. So there was a situation early on when I first got here, and I can't remember what it was, but I had to come into my apartment and take a deep breath and ask myself, like, do you trust yourself though? Because if I trust myself to know when to create distance or when I can fully engage, then I can be free to make friends and be open and obviously not be an oversharer, overshare anything, but just to trust that I can have a conversation with someone, you know? And I think that that was really eye-opening for me because I have never really thought of it in that way until that situation happened. Like, can you trust yourself though? Like, forget them. Can you trust yourself though? And the answer was yes. So I'm like, okay, I can have a conversation with the doorman. It doesn't have to be so, hola, and then just go straight to my apartment. Like, he might know somewhere I could go. So yeah, you want to keep people who can enter your apartment at any time at a distance, which I don't think you can. But I have security measures set up that even if that happened, I would know. I'm not going to go into full detail on what that would be. But yeah, I'm well protected in both the physical and the spiritual realm, so I'll be okay. I can have a conversation with people. Basically learning I can be friendly without oversharing and that boundaries and openness can coexist. And I trust myself enough now to know when to disengage if things get to be inappropriate or how to advocate for myself if something is off or wrong. Being a woman solo traveler means you have to have really strict boundaries and also be very assertive. So today I was followed for several blocks by this guy and I used Google Translate to ask him where he was going because he kept talking to me. I did say good morning to him first, but in my defense, I say good morning to everyone. So I didn't think that this would be any different. It's been 14 days. I haven't had anything like this happen, but there's always going to be one, right? So I told him, where are you going? And he said, oh, just a few more blocks. And I said, okay. And then I stopped again. I said, you're not going with me. And he said, yeah, no. So I ducked into a cafe and I told the hostess that this guy is following me. I just came in here for a second and I don't think he understood me. So I need to learn how to say that in Español muy rápido because that is a safety phrase that every woman should know when they're traveling in whatever language is native to that country. He had picked some flowers and was trying to hand them to me, and I put some bass in my voice and told him, no, kind of like when you talk to your dog or something, like, no, you have to put some bass in your voice when you say it. But we are all good. I memorized his outfit. I'm at the beach now. He is nowhere in sight. And if I see him again, I'm just going to say the same thing. No, but I'm taking a taxi home, so we're all good. I think being confrontational really helps me to navigate this environment because I rarely let things slide. And for my solo travelers specifically, I'm kind of curious to know how you balance openness and also being cautious about your own safety. So a quick story about my Walmart adventure. So during the first few days when I had the car, I went to Walmart and I was just getting some basic supplies. I needed a towel for the gym. I needed bug spray. I needed face wash, all the little things, right? And because this Walmart is in Mexico, the signs are in Spanish and some of them are in English, but the store is just laid out completely different from how I'm used to a store being laid out. So anyway, long story short, I am in Walmart for about an hour and a half before I make it to the register. And when I get to the register, I realize, I should get a bag of ice. So I try to ask the young lady for a bag of ice. And I think I said helado. And she's just like, huh? So I use Google Translate and She tells me, okay, yes, pay for your ice here and then go to customer service and you'll pick up the ice. So I pay for the ice, I walk over to customer service, there's one person in front of me, but as I'm passing, I see there's a guy sitting right in front of the ice. I did not notice at the time he did not have on a Walmart badge, but I say, yellow, that's how I learned how to pronounce it. Quisiera yellow, and I show him my receipt. And he's like, oh, it's not me. He says it's in English. Oh, it's not me, you have to go to customer service. Where are you from though? And I'm like, oh, New York. And he's like, oh, I have family in Jersey, Plainfield, New Jersey, something like that. Like, oh, that's cool. So he takes me over to customer service and he's like, yeah, just stand here. There's one person in front of me. So I'm standing there and it's taking quite a long time for whatever transaction they're doing. It looks like a return to me. It was taking quite a long time, but I'm very patient. I'm like, I don't have nothing else to do, so I don't really care if how long it's gonna take. And I think he must have noticed, the original guy, and was like, oh, come over here, I'm gonna show you something. Turns out he works for a company that sells like those tours and stuff. So he pulls me out of line and he's showing me all these options. And I'm like, oh, this isn't my first time in Mexico. I've done most of those things. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, we have like a timeshare and we have a meeting, blah, blah, blah. He's like, are you going to come? I'm like, no, I'm just going to be honest. No. He's like, oh, okay. I was like, hey, but I have to go get the ice. So he's like, oh yeah, okay. Let me see. So he walks me over and there's one person working customer service, but there are like 2 or 3 other people standing in front of the customer service desk, presumably helping people who have online pickup orders. So he asked one of them like, hey, can you just get the ice for her? And they say, no, the other girl, the only person working in customer service, has to get it for me. At this time now, there's 2 people in front of me. I think there was 3 people in front of me now. So he pulled me out of line, and those people don't know that I was here before, so they're not gonna let me cut. In fact, one lady maneuvered her cart real quick so that I couldn't get back in front of her because I was standing kind of off to the side. So I'm like, oh, okay, patience, right? I don't have anywhere to go, it's fine. Caviar was fine, I had walked him before I left, so it wasn't a big deal. However, by the time my light just went out. By the time I get to getting the ice, I want to say an hour had passed, y'all. I was in that Walmart for legit 3.5 hours. I basically worked a shift there, okay? So the lady comes from behind the desk to get the ice, which is locked. I'm like, wow, this ice is very precious, you know? And I mean, it is hot out here, so I kind of get why. She comes from behind the desk to unlock the ice chest. And as she's doing that, her manager, presumably, walks up with a bag of ice in his hand to put it back in. But she says to him, oh, she needs the ice. And he hands it to me, or tries to hand it to me. And I can see from where he's grabbing it that it's open. So I'm like, that's open. And I don't know how to say open. I still don't know. I know when I see it, but I'm like, that's open. And he's like, oh, all of them are open. Again, perfect English. And I was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, I'll show you. And he's like, yeah, I'll show you. And I'm like, okay. So he opens up the ice chest and he shows me all of these different, all of the different bags that he has in there are indeed open. And I point to the back and I say, well, what about those? And I think in that situation, most people would maybe people will say, well, I would have said, I know how y'all move. I hate when people say stuff. Well, I would. No, you wouldn't have, because I see how y'all move. I had a bakery. Remember, I was doing customer service for a long time. I've been working with customers for a long time. Most people would have just taken the open bag of ice and been mad about it. I wasn't going to do that. So he went in, and then especially in a foreign country where you don't understand the language, yeah, you would have just taken the bag of ice. So I was like, hey, I see one. What about that one? And sure enough, that bag was not open. He gave me that bag and I was on my merry way. But the bigger reflection is that Self-advocacy matters when traveling, whether solo or with a group. Firmness and courtesy can also coexist. So please tell me in the comments what your most chaotic travel story was or uncomfortable situation, because that was a little uncomfortable, not necessarily like extremely uncomfortable for me, but I could see how it would be uncomfortable for someone else. So let's get into the food quality. Caviar's food has been looking kind of good to me lately. Finishing up Caviar's food. It's just pollo, zanahorias, y arroz. Delicioso. Él encanta comida. And I'm gonna tell you why. So I typically get ground beef or ground chicken for him, and then I add carrots, lentils, chickpeas, rice, maybe some spinach. I don't know what is different. Well, we know what's different, but when I cook his food now, like the chicken breast creates like that slight little oily look, like how when you make a chicken soup and you put like butter in it or something, that's how the chicken breast looks. And then it like falls apart really nicely. And I've noticed that just with all the chicken that I've eaten here, it's just like it falls apart. It's really easy to clean the bone of a chicken here because it just falls off. And this is from multiple different places. So it's not like one place is cooking it in a certain way. No, like that something is different. Something's different. I could not find canned beans at all. Every bean is dried. So I learned how to make dried garbanzo beans. Best meals that I had so far were the jerk chicken from Roots Jamaican Kitchen, the sesame crusted tuna tostada from, I'm gonna put the name of the restaurant on the screen because I don't know how to say it, and also their goat cheese salad was bomb. And then obviously the street tacos. The street tacos have been amazing. If you are from Mexico or you've been living in Mexico or you just love Mexico and you come here all the time, please tell me what are your favorite foods, fruits, beverages, because I'm sure I have barely scratched the surface on all the good things to put in my body here. I love the gym that I found. It's called World Gym. Apparently they have a ton of locations that I will definitely be looking into as I continue my travels. But yeah, I love the gym, and it's inside of a mall, which has unexpectedly become one of my favorite places to just chill out, people watch, drink a matcha, which has been a whole separate issue. Matcha here is bad. It's really bad. I've become a coffee drinker again because the matcha here is basically just, it's BS. Okay, the mall is like an open air, it's shaded, it's like, it's so cozy. They have like lounge chairs and tables, and they have like a little pond, and it's so cozy. I go there before and after the gym, and even on days like I'm probably gonna go there tonight because the language transfer class is right near there. I'm probably gonna go there tonight and just sit and people watch. I love that mall. I've never even really been in the stores. That's the funny part. I went into the Apple store, or their equivalent to an Apple store, just to get some headphones, but I've never been in any of the other stores. I just go there to relax and hang out, and it's such a good place to just hang out and chill. And I never thought I would be a mall chiller person, you know? Oh my gosh. So something I want to really call out is the fitness culture here is so intense. Like when I go out and walk Caviar at 6 and 7, there are so many people out running. It's very motivational in a way, because I'm like, one day I'm gonna have the energy and the gusto and the cojones to just get up and go run at 6 a.m. One day I'm gonna be just like y'all, but today ain't the day. I go to the gym 6 times a week here, but running outside in this heat, because it still be hot at 6, it's just the sun ain't out, but it still is hot at 6 in the morning. I admire them. There's lots of runners, and everyone seems just very deeply invested in their health. I don't know if it's just this area, because I have been to some other parts where it seems like people are just a little more relaxed, but I think this area, you know, is very touristy. But the people running aren't tourists though. These are locals, and I think they just happen to live in this area. Maybe they work in tourism or they're business owners, but yeah, it seems like the fitness culture here is through the roof. Like the fitness culture here is just so intense. I love seeing it. I love to see it. And now I'm curious, when you guys travel, do you guys stick to your routine, or do you just kind of relax and just get back to it when you get home? Caviar. And lastly, being Black abroad. So my friend Troy told me this before I got here, is that most places you'll be an American before you're a Black person. And now I finally understand what that means. And let's get into that. I think it has a lot to do with the language, obviously. I think that we Americans sometimes have a bad rap, but let me tell you something. These Canadians though, don't act like they not a problem too, okay? Because there's Canadians in this building. They are rude. Oh my God. I'm gonna get into a story too about this Canadian lady I just met the other day, but I do see a lot of Black Americans here. I actually see more Black Americans than I do white Americans, to be honest. I think I've seen or talked to one white American. I do get looked at a lot, especially when I don't have on a hat, child. Oh my goodness. When I don't have on a hat or a scarf, I am the star of the show. But being a Leo, I don't. Some moments I do feel I was treated differently because of the language barrier, but I don't think it was because of my color. I think it was literally because of the language barrier. So Spanish has been my bridge. So anyone I make eye contact with, I greet. Buenas noches, buenas tardes, buenos dias. Always. If you make eye contact with me, I'm gonna say something to you. I've learned con permiso, meaning excuse me, por favor, obviously. I try to compliment the women that I meet regularly. So even the young lady who works at the fruteria, I told her lipstick was muy bonita, because it was very pretty. It was like a pinkish color. I wanted to tell the lady who runs my local cafe that caviar is a pain in my ass, and she corrected me and told me it's more appropriate to use the word headache. So that was great. I still don't know how to say it, but I'm gonna keep practicing that. Also, tipping culture. So being an American, they expect us to tip really well. Like so many places, as they're handing me the bill, they'll be like, the tip is not included, okay? It's not included. It's not included, okay? Like, it's very intense. I'm like, okay, got it, you know? So they expect us to tip, which I don't know if I like. Even in New York or even in the States, I just feel like tipping culture is so ridiculous, because the owners should be paying their employees a livable wage. It's been so normalized for us to have to pay a percentage of an employee's wage because the owner has made it so that they're making $2-3 an hour and telling them, oh, you'll make up the money in tips. So now it puts it on the customer. And I think it's so tacky, and I think it does not have to be that way, but we've just normalized it so much that we just accept it. And my beef is not with the employees, but it's with the owners. But I do try to be a generous tipper when the service warrants that. Do I always leave a tip? Yes, it just depends on how much. I'm not always leaving 15%. That's not me. I'm not always leaving 10. That's not me. I might leave you the change, you know, but I'm not always leaving a certain amount, unless, like, just the other day, I had a situation at the nail salon where the lady was like, come back and pay me later. And I'm like, what do you mean? You trust me to come back and pay you later? No, I'm gonna go get you this money now. And I tipped her 30% and brought her favorite agua fresca, because that, and the service was amazing. It was an amazing service. So I tip in those situations very generously, because she went above and beyond what she was supposed to do. But I don't tip for a takeout order. I'm sorry. Like, unless I'm just leaving the change, I don't tip for a takeout order. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. I can already tell that this experience is about to change me in ways that I am not even expecting. And not just learning the language or learning to navigate a new place, but also who am I when I slow down enough to look at my life. There's still so much I have not talked to you guys about yet. Like, I've already changed my travel plans. Tour of my Airbnb, navigating loneliness, considering a romance, the beauty treatments, what else? Deepening my spiritual practices. Honestly, just figuring out what kind of life I'm building now. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, be sure to subscribe. You can find me here on YouTube and Substack every Thursday, and on TikTok and Instagram every day for little shorter clips and bits of my life here in Mexico. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.